Hold on one second, because I have to go do something. Hi, everybody. Hang on 1 minute, because I have to go to my phone. There's something on my phone that's playing over here, so hang on. Just want to put my, where's my thingy-majiggy? Hold on. Put this up. I'll put this up since we're going to talk about this. I'll be right back. Okay. All right. Let me make sure. That's all right. All right. Let me say hello to the chat first. Where's the chat? Chat. It has to be this chat? No. This chat? Yes. Okay. Hello. Hey, Jeannie. Hi, awesome girl. Hi, Deborah. You're rooting for who? Who are you rooting for? You're rooting for me, Jeannie? Who are you rooting for? Hi, Sherry. Let's see. The truth will set us free. Yeah, it will, Jeannie. It surely will. You bet. You bet. Farm wife, Linda. Kevin. Oh, let me make sure I'm in the, I am. And Tracy. Am I in the live chat? Yeah. Barb Olson. Hey, Norma May. Margot. Who's that? I can't see who that is. Margot, that's weird, Margot. Oh, okay. You had a different name over your name. I don't know what it was. Al and everybody there. Okay, so last night we noticed that, and it's funny, okay? I have to say something. iCkEdMeL has about almost 200,000 subscribers, right? And everybody gets on me and says, Carolyn, these hater channels, how come you have, over 40,000 subscribers? If every one of your 40,000 subscribers gave you $1, you'd have $40,000, right? And that, there's got to be something wrong. There has to be something wrong if, $7,000 that we've raised in the legal fund, because we've gotten donations off of the fund, the GoFundMe. It's probably even more than that. But they like to poke a lot of fun at it. Well, iCkEdMeL has almost 200,000 subscribers, and he has a legal fund. And he hasn't even raised $2,000 yet. So what's wrong with iCkEdMeL then? If you go by the same standards, right? What's wrong with that? If every one of his subscribers gave him $1, he'd have $200,000, right? So this is just the kind of crap that these hate channels say. But it's just, look at it. It's crazy. But this is what they say. This is what they say. Just saying. Just saying. What is that? Just want to see one thing. I just want to make sure, tell you what he's raised with his legal fund. His legal fund, $1,913. And he has 185,000 subscribers. Just saying. Okay? Just putting things in perspective for these channels that like to talk a lot of smack. You need a fabric fund? iCkEdMeL. Okay. All right. I'll pronounce it wrong anyway, Earthbound Spirit, because that's what I do with names. That's who I am. You can't change who I am. Okay. It's supposed to be like, I understand it's supposed to be like wicked. Now, that whole name is going to have significance in the lawsuit because iCkEdMeL was a hacker. And he used to hack into people's, and this is true. This is true because I saw iCkEdMeL's own video about it. Was a part of a bunch of hackers back in AOL days that hacked into people's computers and watched them on their cameras and stole their passwords. And this is from his own mouth. So just so you know. That is his own video. And that's how he got that name. And for the record, you're grown, okay? That's how he got that name. Because they were all called iCkEd whatever. And I want to also mention that the lawsuit that I'm going to show is not redacted, and it is released by iCkEdMeL with his real name in there. He has released this, so I did not redact it. It's been released unredacted. And there's been many other creators that have shown it just that way because it's released that way. So let's go ahead. I don't watch iCkEdMeL. Did not watch him during the Kiely Rodni case. But this lawsuit, it's public record too, is about what started during that Kiely Rodni case. No, I know how Earthbound. I know, but I'll always pronounce it wrong, or I'll pronounce it right, or I won't. Yeah. It's all right. I'm just joking with you. I'm just busting your chops, Earthbound. I wouldn't do that if I didn't like you. Don't take it the wrong way, please. Hello, Trisha. People just call him Mel. Okay. So I'm going to pull up the lawsuit because I do have a live after this, and this lawsuit is quite lengthy. So I'm going to pull this up. Okay, that's my follow-up. That's my Sarah Boone. What did I just do with my... Oh, here's my lawsuit. Okay, well... All right. Okay, so... Melvin Cedino, a.k.a. iCkEdMeL plaintiff versus Ryan Upchurch and fictitious persons 1 through 100. Complaint introduction. This diversity action arises from the defamatory and tortious conduct of defendant Ryan Upchurch as explained below. It has some facts in common with those stated in the amended complaint. Okay. Ryan Upchurch is a prominent YouTube personality. His YouTube channel boasts 3 million. Wait a second. Is that what? I just want to see something about Ryan Upchurch's channel because, hang on. I thought he had more than that. I just want to see if this changed. I thought he had more than that. Ryan Upchurch. Actually, he does have a little more than that. But I thought he had way more than that. He has 3.15 now. Okay. The channel is highly popular among aficionados of redneck rap music and conspiracy theories. Since Mr. Upchurch's channel began in 2014, his 500 plus videos have been viewed a combined total of 2,080,000,000 times. And they put that in here, and that's at the time of this. So they put that in there just for verification. Okay. Melvin Cedeno, the plaintiff herein, is also a YouTuber. He is known by the handle iCkEdMeL. His focus is directed towards true crime stories and other current news events. On or about August 6, 2022, Kylie Rodney, a 16-year-old girl, disappeared after leaving a party near Tahoe National Forest in California. Shortly thereafter, Messrs. Upchurch and Cedeno each started making videos discussing her disappearance. Mr. Upchurch theorized that she had been kidnapped by S traffickers and pedophiles. This theory was discredited when Miss Rodney's body and her missing car were found in a lake on August 21st, 2022. Wow, we just passed the one-year anniversary. As it turns out, the young woman had driven her car off the road in a tragic accident. Prior to the discovery of Miss Rodney's body, Mr. Upchurch prepared 2 videos accusing Mr. Cedeno of vile and heinous acts. In the first video, published August 20th, 2022, Mr. Upchurch states and or implies that Mr. Cedeno's handle, iCkEdMeL, is a code word for S trafficking. In the second video, published the next day, Mr. Upchurch states that iCkEdMeL, Mr. Cedeno, is linked to a child P website. Thus, in these videos, Mr. Upchurch states or implies that Mr. Cedeno is an S trafficking P. Mr. Upchurch's statements and or implications are false and defamatory. As a direct and proximate result thereof, Mr. Cedeno suffered damage to his reputation and character as evidenced inter alia by threatening messages he has received from supporters of Mr. Upchurch. These threatening messages, including one death threat, caused Mr. Cedeno to suffer extreme mental anguish. They also prompted Mr. Cedeno to purchase security cameras. He also incurred other damages, pecuniary and non-pecuniary. Mr. Cedeno respectfully submits that the laws of Florida should govern the substance of this dispute. Ergo, Mr. Cedeno seeks compensatory damages and punitive damages under Florida law for inter alia defamation, defamation by implication, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Parties: Melvin Cedeno is a citizen and resident of Florida. Ryan Upchurch is a citizen of Tennessee. Upon information and belief, he resides in Cheatham County, Tennessee. Thus, he resides in the Middle District of Tennessee and in the Nashville division thereof. The fictitious persons referenced herein are those persons, corporations, partnerships, associations, and or other entities presently unknown who assisted Mr. Upchurch in committing these torts complained of herein. These parties, however, do not include any person who resides in any jurisdiction that would destroy diversity. Any reference herein to Mr. Upchurch shall be understood to also reference these fictitious persons. Hey, Nora, thank you for being a member for 39 months. Hi. The court has jurisdiction over this action pursuant to blah, 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 because the amount in controversy exceeds $75,000, exclusive of interest and costs, and because there is complete diversity of citizenship. Venue is proper herein pursuant to blah, 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 because the only defendant, Mr. Upchurch, resides in this district. The suit is timely filed. In diversity actions, a federal court applies the statute of limitations of the forum state unless an applicable statute of limitations from another state limits not only the remedy but also affects the substantive right. In Tennessee, claims for libel and for personal injury must be filed within 1 year after the cause of action occurs. Because the anniversary for the earliest video that forms the basis of this complaint falls on Sunday, August 20th, 2023, the Tennessee statute of limitations for this suit expires on Monday, August 21st, 2023. Alternatively, the statute of limitations under Florida law expires on August 20th of 2024. Mr. Cedino incorporates all the above paragraphs. Kylie Rodney disappeared on August 6th, 2022. On August 9th, 2022, Mr. Cedino began posting videos discussing Miss Rodney's disappearance. Shortly afterwards, Ronnie Jones started calling into Mr. Cedino's live webcast. On August 15th, 2022, Mr. Upchurch was listening to Mr. Cedino's webcast, and when Mr. Jones called the program. After Mr. Upchurch had posted comments to the live chat feed objecting to Mr. Jones's viewpoint, Mr. Cedino invited Mr. Upchurch onto the show to discuss the matter. Mr. Upchurch agreed and called the number to the webcast, which has a 954 area code that is assigned to Florida. Ergo, Mr. Upchurch knew or should have known that he was communicating with Mr. Cedino while the latter was in Florida. In his videos, Mr. Upchurch implies that Mr. Jones was somehow involved in the disappearance of Miss Rodney. Moreover, because Mr. Jones had called into Mr. Cedino's webcast, Mr. Upchurch suggests that Mr. Cedino, iCkEdMeL, was associated with Mr. Jones. Mr. Upchurch suggests that Mr. Cedino was involved in Miss Rodney's disappearance. On August 20th, 2022, Mr. Upchurch uploaded a video to YouTube in which he states that Mr. Cedino's handle, iCkEdMeL, is an S-trafficking code word. In this video, he also uses a marker and a sheet of paper to write false and defamatory anagrams of iCkEdMeL, such as Cel, C-E-L, me kid, and licked me. The statements and or implications contained within the video and in its title are referred to herein as Defamation Specimen 1. The video is transcribed as follows. All right, so check this out. You know how these effing weirdos out here who like to do stuff to kids and shite have like code words. Okay, well, the dude who's like, hey Ryan, I don't know anything about this missing kid. Okay, look at his name. Look how it's spelled, all right? His YouTube name is spelled iCkEdMeL, iCkEdMeL. If you unscramble it, it says, that's only using the letters that are there. And it also says, licked me. Why is his name unscrambled, say, sell me kid, and licked me, like sell me kid? If you sound it out, it says sell me kid. Why? Why does it say licked me? If you look for children and your page is dedicated to looking for children and covering missing children. Why? This is effing weird. Disco man, explain this mother effer. Mr. Upchurch answered, his own question that very same day. On August 20th, 2022, he republished a clip of one of Mr. Cedino's videos from 2016, wherein Mr. Cedino explains why his handle is iCkEdMeL. In this clip, as Mr. Upchurch republished it, Mr. Cedino explains, iCkEdMeL is the name I got from years ago when AOL first came out. I used to be in a hacking group, kind of a hacking group, It was just a bunch of young kids who were downloading hacking programs. We would go into AOL chat rooms and AOL Instant Messenger, and we would pretty much blow up the chat rooms, flood them, and we would pretty much cause the computers of other people to get frozen, and you can't do anything. That's one of the things I remember doing, cough. The name of the group, it was called iCkED Army. And a lot of the members of the group, they had iCkED in front of their name. And they would adopt whatever they wanted to put next to it. That's how I got iCkEdMeL. In his 2016 video clip, Mr. Cedeno does not mention any S reason for his selection of the handle iCkEdMeL, nor does he mention P or S trafficking. Therefore, by virtue of his republication of Mr. Cedeno's explanation for iCkEdMeL, Mr. Upchurch knew that his statement about iCkEdMeL being an S trafficking code word was false. Or at the very least, Mr. Upchurch invariably had a high degree of awareness of its probable falsity. Thus, Mr. Upchurch acted with actual malice and or with reckless disregard for the truth when he made the false and defamatory assertion. Okay. Defamation Specimen 1 has been viewed at least 124,000 times and has been liked 6,990 times. Thus, approximately 7,000 people have expressed belief in what Mr. Upchurch has stated or implied, thereby evincing prodigious damage to Mr. Cedeno's reputation and character. If over 124,000 views and nearly 7,000 likes were not bad enough, the complete reach of Defamation Specimen 1's libelous title, iCkEdMeL is a S trafficking code word, is mind-blowing when one considers the number of times it has been impressed upon the feeds of YouTube viewers. According to Google, which owns YouTube, an impression is defined as the number of times a thumbnail was shown to viewers on YouTube. Similarly, the impressions click-through rate, or the CTR, is defined as how often viewers watched a video after seeing a thumbnail. Not every impression leads to a view, nor does every view come from an impression. Nevertheless, according to Google, half of all channels and videos on YouTube have an impression CTR that can range between 2% and 10%. Therefore, to garner 124,000 views with an impression CTR of 2% to 10%, the thumbnail of Defamation Specimen 1, and by extension, its libelous title, must have been impressed upon the YouTube feeds of 1.2 million to 6.1 million people, unless it was also shared by way of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or any other social media network whose impressions are not measured by YouTube. In any event, Defamation Specimen 1's false and defamatory title has been seen by millions of people. Given that Mr. Upchurch's channel has 3.1 million subscribers, this estimate is reasonable. As further evidence of the reach of Mr. Upchurch's videos, when one simply runs a Google search of the word iCkEdMeL, the thumbnail for Defamation Specimen 1, including its title, is displayed on the first page. A screen capture of a Google search performed on August 20th, 2023 is depicted below. Restated, Mr. Cedeno's own videos, from which he derives income, have been suppressed in Google's search algorithm by Mr. Upchurch's defamatory videos about Mr. Cedeno, further evidencing the damage to Mr. Cedeno's reputation. Sound familiar? The following day, August 21st, 2022, Mr. Upchurch uploaded another video that falsely states and or implies that Mr. Cedeno, iCkEdMeL, was linked to a hidden YouTube P website. The statements and implications contained within this video and in its title are referred to as Defamation Specimen 2. This video is transcribed as follows. Dude, the evidence is not stopping against these mother effers. All right, so we already linked iCkEdMeL to Ronnie Jones and showed you all who both them really were and linked the Bump Lip Girl to them as well. Bump Lip Girl just deleted her effing YouTube, so I went to go type in her name, the effing podcast thing, the Xaname Max. It goes to a YouTube channel that is talking about Kylie Rodney, and when you click the effing comments, dude, it is links to Child P and Shite. Dude, it even says 18 and below. Dude, y'all some sick mother effers. Anybody following iCkEdMeL after today, well, F. We'll know where all the weirdos are, I guess. In this August 21st, 2022 video, the only reason that Mr. Upchurch presents for his assertion that iCkEdMeL, Mr. Cedino, is linked to a hidden YouTube P site, which is short for P website, are that certain links to P videos have been placed into the chat feed of another YouTuber's video, said links being prominently displayed by Mr. Upchurch, and that 2 of these links say 18 and below. The other YouTuber, Burden of Proof, from whose channel Mr. Upchurch found the aforesaid P links, has absolutely no connection to Mr. Cedino. Thus, Mr. Cedino had nothing to do with these links or with their placement onto the chat feed of this other YouTuber's video. Beyond this, as the screen capture below that has been taken from the Defamation Specimen 2 shows, the comments from this chat feed state in plain English that it has adult P videos only. As for the comments written in German, even the most cursory use of Google Translate would show that they are completely devoid of any reference to P. Okay, so these were just Defamation Specimen 2 at 56 seconds. Nevertheless, if one were to assume that the website links that are depicted above do in fact point people to hidden P sites, as Mr. Upchurch seems to argue, then either Mr. Upchurch or someone he knows must have reached this conclusion by viewing the content found on these websites. After all, he could not have based his assertion merely upon what these comments say, since they do not reference Child P or Ps in any way. Thus, Mr. Upchurch simply cannot prove that these websites are for Ps, let alone that Mr. Cedino is linked to them, without implicating himself in the commission of at least one federal crime. To be unambiguously clear, Mr. Cedino is not accusing Mr. Upchurch of committing any federal crime pertaining to S trafficking or P. This is because the so-called hidden YouTube P sites that Mr. Upchurch references simply do not exist. Accordingly, neither Mr. Upchurch nor Mr. Cedino could have ever accessed them. Nevertheless, by relying upon the contents of a non-existent website, or alternatively upon the existence of hidden YouTube P websites that he has clearly failed to disclose, Mr. Upchurch cannot assert that he was offering a constitutionally protected opinion. On the contrary, Mr. Upchurch knew Defamation Specimen 2 and its title were false, or at the very least, he behaved with actual malice and or with reckless disregard for the truth when he published these assertions. Defamation Specimen 2 has been viewed at least 167,000 times and has been liked 9,380 times. Thus, over 9,000 people have expressed belief in what Mr. Upchurch has stated or implied. If over 167,000 views and over 9,000 likes were not bad enough, the complete reach of Defamation Specimens 2's libelous title, Zana May and iCkEdMeL, linked to hidden YouTube P site, Kylie Rodney, is staggering, assuming a CTR rate of 2% to 10%, as described supra. Mr. Cedeno estimates that the libelous title to Defamation Specimen 2 has been impressed upon the feeds of between 1.6 million and 8.3 million people. Thus, Defamation Specimen 2's false and defamatory title has been seen by millions of people. Mr. Cedeno has never been an S trafficker. iCkEdMeL is not a code word for S trafficking. Mr. Cedeno is not a P. On August 21st of 2022, Mr. Upchurch uploaded a video in which he plays a clip of several of his supporters talking about Mr. Cedeno. No, it's not more likes than views. It's 9,000 likes for 167,000 views. They're saying impressions. Impressions are different. Okay. In this republished clip, which has been viewed at least 175,000 times, another YouTuber reveals that iCkEdMeL's real name is Melvin Cedeno and discloses that Mr. Cedeno operates a company in Florida. iCkEdMeL has a business. So it says entity type, Florida Limited Liability Company, right? And that's iCkEdMeL, LLC. All right. So first of all, we've got his real name, right? His real name is Melvin Cedeno. Okay. Here's the picture right here off of Pinterest. Melvin Cedeno, iCkEdMeL profile, Pinterest. I don't know if you guys have this information. Thus, on the day he claimed that iCkEdMeL is linked to a hidden YouTube P site, Mr. Upchurch revealed iCkEdMeL's identity and whereabouts. Therefore, Mr. Upchurch intentionally directed the statements and or implications complained of herein towards the specific end of defaming Mr. Cedeno and not simply a YouTube figure named iCkEdMeL. By stating and or implying that Mr. Cedeno, aka iCkEdMeL, was involved with S trafficking in P, Mr. Upchurch caused actual injury to Mr. Cedeno. This injury, which occurred in Florida, includes but is not limited to the following. On or about September 14, 2022, Mr. Cedeno received a Facebook message from Ralph Simmerd of Bangor, Maine. Therein, Mr. Simmerd threatens to put a gun into Mr. Cedeno's MFing mouth. Mr. Simmerd calls Mr. Cedeno a P while referencing Ryan. 3 weeks after Mr. Upchurch had first implied that Mr. Cedeno was a P, Mr. Simmerd also references Zana May and Tony Dodge, who appeared with Mr. Upchurch on a YouTube panel talking about Mr. Jones. Ergo, Mr. Simmerd clearly speaks of Ryan Upchurch when he writes Ryan. Moreover, since Mr. Simmerd is repeating what Mr. Upchurch had published about Mr. Cedeno, Mr. Simmerd is clearly reacting to Mr. Upchurch's false statement and or implication. As such, Mr. Simmerd clearly believes what Mr. Upchurch has said. A copy of the entire correspondence, redacted of profanity, is attached as Exhibit A and incorporated herein by reference. Mr. Cedeno also received messages from other followers of Mr. Upchurch, further evincing the damage to Mr. Cedeno's reputation and character. See Exhibit B. We'll get to the exhibits. In view of Mr. Simard's death threat, Mr. Cedeno feared for the lives of his daughter and himself. That same day, he filed a report concerning Mr. Simard's death threat with the Hollywood, Florida Police Department. A copy of this report, redacted of confidential information, is attached as Exhibit C and incorporated herein by reference. In response to Mr. Simard's death threat and the other hateful messages he received, which were all prompted by Mr. Upchurch's defamation and or defamation by implication, Mr. Cedeno purchased security cameras for his home in Florida for protection. In the initial days following Mr. Upchurch's defamation and or defamation by implication, Mr. Cedeno also lost subscribers to his YouTube channel. Attached as Exhibit D, incorporated herein by reference, are just a few of the comments and messages of viewers indicating that they were unsubscribing from his channel. Okay. Therefore, because of the false and defamatory statements and or implications raised by Mr. Upchurch in his videos and in the written titles to the videos, Mr. Cedeno has suffered damage to his reputation and character, which in turn has led to pecuniary losses and severe mental anguish. Okay, I was looking at that name Poodle Pom Pom, and I was like, I saw something else that was... But that's not what I said. Okay. Mr. Upchurch had actual knowledge that Mr. Cedeno's handle, iCkEdMeL, was not an S-trafficking code word, as evidenced by his republication of Mr. Cedeno's explanation for how he got the name. Likewise, Mr. Upchurch had actual knowledge that Mr. Cedeno was not linked to a hidden P website, as evidenced by there being no mention of P in the chat feed comments describing the links to these supposed websites. Ergo, Mr. Upchurch had actual knowledge of the wrongfulness of his conduct. I don't see the palm person. Oh, now I do. Furthermore, given that his audience is comprised of more than 3,100,000 subscribers, Mr. Upchurch knew that there was a high probability that injury or damage to Mr. Cedeno would result. Despite having this knowledge, Mr. Upchurch intentionally pursued the course of conduct complained of herein, which resulted in the injury or damage described herein. Thus, by performing the actions complained of herein, Mr. Upchurch had the specific intent of causing harm to Mr. Cedeno. He acted with malice and with deliberate disregard for Mr. Cedeno's safety and well-being, all for the singular purpose of growing his YouTube channel. On August 7, 2023, counsel for Mr. Cedeno delivered via facsimile to counsel for Mr. Upchurch a letter demanding retraction of the videos and titles that Mr. Cedeno is linked to a hidden P website and that his handle is an S-trafficking code word. So you see what they did on August 7th. iCkEdMeL's lawyer sent a fax to Ryan Upchurch's lawyers demanding that he retract the videos and the titles of those defamatory videos that said he was linked to a hidden P website and that his name was a code word for S-trafficking. On August 11th, 4 days later, Mr. Upchurch uploaded a video wherein he refuses to retract any of his statements. Mr. Upchurch states, in pertinent part, "Oh, iCkEdMeL, you look like a walking Avon bottle. You little B. Hold on, yeah, I got your letters talking about, oh, we won't sue you if you retract all your statements and say it was fake. F you. B. Sue me. I don't give an F. What you think." You're actually bothering me because the internet MFer. I don't live in the internet. What scared me out of my freedom of speech? And oh, iCkEdMeL, you crooked cop looking MFer. I don't care about nothing you say either, B. What are you going to do? Yo, your colon don't even work right. You've been sitting in that chair so long. On August 12th, 5 days later, counsel for Mr. Cedeno delivered an updated retraction letter to counsel for Mr. Upchurch. So iCkEdMeL's lawyer sent through another letter. Copy of this letter and its attachments, which include the previous retraction letter, though redacted for profanity in the quoted defamation and for Rule 408 materials, attached as Exhibit E and is incorporated herein by reference. Mr. Upchurch has provided no retraction in response to Mr. Cedeno's demands. Therefore, Mr. Upchurch has acted and does continue to act with actual malice and with reckless disregard for the truth. Mr. Cedeno avers that Mr. Upchurch presented no valid opinion, nor did he exercise any privilege, absolute, qualified, or otherwise, under Florida law or Tennessee law when he published the aforesaid defamation specimens 1 and 2, including their respective titles. Hi, Ruff. Moreover, Mr. Cedeno avers that neither the Tennessee Public Participation Act nor its Florida counterpart has any effect in this court. Therefore, Mr. Upchurch is liable for the defamation and other tortious acts complained of herein. Although the profanity and Rule 408 material are redacted in this exhibit, such were not redacted in the letter that was delivered to Mr. Upchurch's attorney. If an unredacted copy is required for this pleading, Mr. Cedeno will happily amend this complaint accordingly. Mr. Cedeno incorporates all the above paragraphs. In Tennessee, punitive damages are capped at the greater of $500,000 or twice the value of any compensatory damages awarded. However, in Florida, there is no cap on punitive damages when the defendant has the specific intent of causing harm to the plaintiff. Likewise, in Tennessee, there is a $750,000 cap on non-economic damages. However, in Florida, there are no such caps. Thus, a conflict of laws exists. All injuries complained of herein occurred in Florida. The parties have no relationship with each other except through the transmission of Mr. Upchurch's YouTube videos, which Mr. Cedeno was made aware of and viewed in Florida, and Mr. Upchurch's call to Mr. Cedeno's show via Mr. Cedeno's 954 area code telephone number while Mr. Cedeno was webcasting in Florida. Given that a conflict of laws exists, that the injury occurred in Florida, and that the parties' direct contacts were limited to Florida, the state having the most significant relationship to the parties and the occurrence at issue herein is Florida. Therefore, Florida's substantive laws should apply. Mr. Cedeno hereby seeks relief under Florida law for causes of action 1 and 3. However, in the abundance of caution, Mr. Cedeno seeks relief in the alternative under Tennessee law for causes of action 4 through 7. Finally, the cause of action 8, Mr. Cedeno seeks injunctive relief regardless of which state law is selected. Mr. Cedeno incorporates all the above paragraphs. Mr. Cedeno has complied with the pre-suit notice provisions of Florida statute by demanding retraction of defamatory specimens 1 and 2, including their respective titles, supra at least 5 days prior to filing of this suit. Said retraction letter was faxed to Mr. Upchurch's attorney on Saturday, August 12th, 2023, with confirmation thereof attached hereto as Exhibit E1. The tort of defamation under Florida law has the following 5 elements: publication, falsity, The actor must act with knowledge or reckless disregard as to the falsity on a matter concerning a public official, or at least negligently on a matter concerning a private person. Actual damages and statement must be defamatory. Defamatory Specimen 1, which includes its written title, was published to 1.2 million and 6.1 million YouTube viewers. Likewise, Defamation Specimen 2, which includes its written title, was published to between 1.6 million and 8.3 million YouTube viewers. Thus, the first element of defamation under Florida law is met. Mr. Upchurch disclosed to his audience that Mr. Cedeno is iCkEdMeL. Therefore, when Mr. Upchurch referred to iCkEdMeL, he was referring to Mr. Cedeno. Mr. Upchurch published Defamation Specimens 1 and 2, including their respective titles, to his YouTube audience. He exercised no privilege and enjoyed no immunity from suit when he did so. Defamation Specimen 1, which includes its written title, claims that Mr. Cedeno's handle, iCkEdMeL, is a sex trafficking code word. This is false. Defamation Specimen 2, which includes its written title, claims that Mr. Cedeno, aka iCkEdMeL, is linked to a YouTube P site. This too is false. Thus, the second element of defamation under Florida law is met. Although Mr. Cedeno has a YouTube channel, he is nevertheless a private person. Furthermore, allegations concerning whether he is an S trafficker and or a user of a hidden P website are not public controversies. Therefore, Mr. Cedeno is not a public figure, limited purpose or otherwise, for the purposes of defamation law. The very day that Mr. Upchurch proclaimed that iCkEdMeL was an S trafficking code word, he also played a video where Mr. Cedeno gave a different reason for the name's origin. Thus, Mr. Upchurch knew that Defamation Specimen, including its title, was false, or at the very least, Mr. Upchurch must have harbored subjective doubts. Likewise, Mr. Upchurch gives no factual basis to support his contention that Mr. Cedeno is linked to a hidden YouTube P site. In fact, the very website links that Mr. Upchurch references contradict his position. Thus, Mr. Upchurch knew that Defamation Specimen 2, including its title, was false, or at the very least, he must have harbored subjective doubts. Therefore, Mr. Upchurch acted with actual malice and a reckless disregard for the truth, far surpassing the requisite level of negligence in this case to impute fault for defamation. Ergo, the third element of defamation under Florida law is met. As a direct and proximate result of Mr. Upchurch's publication of Defamation Specimens 1 and 2, including their respective titles, Mr. Cedeno suffered actual injury, fulfilling the fourth element of defamation under Florida law, injury. As stated above, Mr. Cedeno suffered inter alia as follows. First, Mr. Cedeno suffered direct harm to his character and reputation, as evidenced by the hateful messages and comments that Mr. Cedeno has received, which include a death threat from Mr. Simard. It is also evidenced by various people's comments on Mr. Upchurch's videos that indicate belief in these lies. It is also evidenced by the thousands of likes that Mr. Upchurch's videos have garnered. Second, the death threat from Mr. Simard particularly, and the other hateful messages that he received generally, caused Mr. Cedeno severe mental anguish, including but not limited to severe anxiety and sleeplessness, thereby prompting him to seek police intervention and to purchase of security cameras. Third, Mr. Cedeno has suffered pecuniary damages, including the costs of purchasing security cameras, the loss of revenue associated with people who dropped their subscriptions upon Mr. Upchurch's after Mr. Upchurch had published his videos, and the loss of future revenue. Defamation Specimen 1, including its facially defamatory title, accuses Mr. Cedeno of adopting an S-trafficking code word as his handle, and thereby implies that he's an S-trafficker. Likewise, Defamation Specimen 2, including its facially defamatory title, expressly states that iCkEdMeL, Mr. Cedeno, is linked to a website for peas. Sex trafficking is a criminal offense. Similarly, peas, by definition, desire to have S with kids, which also is a criminal offense, given that most of the community, speaking by and through their elected representatives in Congress and in the state houses of Florida, Tennessee, and elsewhere, have condemned S trafficking and P by enacting criminal prohibitions thereto. Defamation Specimens 1 and 2, including their respective titles, tend to prejudice Mr. Cedeno in the eyes of, at minimum, a substantial and respectable minority of the community. Ergo, the fifth and final element of defamation under Florida law has been met. By failing to retract Defamation Specimens 1 and 2 upon request, Mr. Upchurch demonstrated actual malice, justifying punitive damages. Ergo, Mr. Cedeno avers that Mr. Upchurch committed the tort of defamation, more specifically libel, as to the Defamation Specimens 1 and 2, including their respective written titles. Mr. Cedeno incorporates all the above paragraphs. As mentioned, Mr. Cedeno has complied with the requirements of the Florida pre-suit notice statute. Defamation by implication applies in circumstances where literally true statements are conveyed in such a way as to create a false impression. In Defamation Specimen 1, Mr. Upchurch takes the word iCkEdMeL and rearranges the letters to spell sell me kid or licked me. In the video, he writes anagrams of iCkEdMeL on a sheet of paper. It is literally true that sell me kid is an anagram of iCkEdMeL. It is also literally true that lick me is an anagram of iCkEdMeL. Nevertheless, Mr. Upchurch communicated these literally true statements in a way as to convey the impression that Mr. Cedeno wants to buy children or be licked, which is a euphemism for oral S. Then, when read in conjunction with the title to Defamation Specimen 1, the anagrams presented by Mr. Upchurch imply that Mr. Cedeno wants to traffic in children. The aforesaid implications are false. Said implications were published to millions of YouTube viewers. As set forth above, Mr. Upchurch acted with negligence and or actual malice and or with reckless disregard for the truth when he published the aforesaid implications, since he knew the real origin of Mr. Cedeno's name. As set forth above, these false implications caused Mr. Cedeno actual injury. Given that the aforesaid false implications associate Mr. Cedeno with behavior that a majority of the members of the community acting by and through their elected officials have criminalized, said implications were defamatory. Ergo, Mr. Cedeno avers that Mr. Upchurch committed the tort of defamation by implication, more specifically libel by implication, as to Defamation Specimen 1, including its written title. Mr. Cedeno incorporates all the above paragraphs for the intentional infliction of emotional distress. The actions complained of herein were intentional or reckless. The actions complained of herein were so outrageous that they are not tolerated by a civilized society. Restated. Mr. Upchurch knew, or should have known, that he would enrage people into lashing out at Mr. Cedeno by falsely publishing to millions of people that Mr. Cedeno was an S trafficker and a P. Nevertheless, with reckless disregard for Mr. Cedino's safety and well-being, Mr. Upchurch published this falsehood on his channel. Ergo, Mr. Upchurch committed the tort of intentional infliction of emotional distress pursuant to Florida law regarding Defamation Specimen 1 and 2, including its respective titles. Mr. Cedino incorporates all the above paragraphs. Mr. Cedino avers that the pre-suit notice requirement does not apply since Mr. Upchurch does not produce a newspaper or a periodical. Nevertheless, and in the abundance of caution, Mr. Cedino notes that his letter of August 12, 2023 complies with this requirement. Hey, Casey. Mr. Upchurch knew that defamation specimens 1 and 2 were false and defaming to Mr. Cedino. Alternatively, he acted with reckless disregard for the truth or with negligence in failing to ascertain the truth of the statements and or implications. Mr. Upchurch caused Mr. Cedino to suffer actual injury, including but not limited to damage to his reputation and character, mental anguish, and pecuniary losses. Ergo, Mr. Upchurch committed the tort of defamation pursuant to Tennessee law regarding defamation specimens 1 and 2, including their respective titles. Defamation by implication, Tennessee law. Mr. Cedino incorporates all the above paragraphs. As stated, Mr. Cedino avers that the pre-suit notice requirement does not apply. Nevertheless, in an abundance of caution, Mr. Cedino notes that his letter dated August 12, 2023 complies with this requirement. Mr. Upchurch published Defamation Specimen 1, and the meaning thereof reasonably conveyed the implication that Mr. Cedino was involved in illegal S trafficking and the S exploitation of children. This defamed Mr. Cedino, bringing disgrace to not only his YouTube handle, iCkEdMeL, but also to his legal name, given Mr. Upchurch's revelation to his audience that iCkEdMeL was Melvin Cedino of Florida. Restated, Mr. Upchurch rearranged the letters in Mr. Cedino's handle, iCkEdMeL, to imply that Mr. Cedino was an S trafficker and a P. As stated above, Mr. Upchurch acted with negligence and or actual malice and or with reckless disregard for the truth, causing Mr. Cedino actual injury. Ergo, Mr. Upchurch committed the tort of defamation by implication pursuant to Tennessee law regarding Defamation Specimen 1, including its title, False Light, Tennessee law. Mr. Cedino incorporates all the above paragraphs. As stated in Defamation Specimen 1, Mr. Upchurch rearranges the letters of Mr. Cedino's handle, iCkEdMeL, to present the false impression that Mr. Cedino is an S trafficker. As stated in Defamation Specimen 2, Mr. Upchurch states with no factual basis that iCkEdMeL is linked to a hidden YouTube P website. Then, Mr. Upchurch revealed on his YouTube channel that iCkEdMeL's real name is Melvin Cedino. By doing so, Mr. Upchurch gave publicity to Mr. Cedino's affairs that placed him before the public in a false light, to wit, that he was S trafficking P who accesses child P online. Given the criminal nature of these offenses, the false light in which Mr. Cedino was placed would have been highly offensive to a reasonable person. As stated, Mr. Upchurch had knowledge of or acted in reckless disregard as to the falsity of the publicized matter and the false light in which the other would be placed. Ergo, Mr. Upchurch committed the tort of false light regarding Defamation Specimens 1 and 2, including their respective titles. Intentional infliction of emotional distress, Tennessee law. Mr. Cedino incorporates all the above paragraphs. The actions complained of herein were intentional or reckless. The actions complained of herein were so outrageous that they are not tolerated by a civilized society. The actions complained of herein caused Mr. Cedino severe mental injury, including sleepless nights and anxiety. Ergo, Mr. Upchurch committed the tort of intentional infliction of emotional distress pursuant to Tennessee law regarding Defamation Specimen 1 and 2, including its respective titles. Injunctive relief, Florida or Tennessee law. Mr. Cedeno incorporates all the above paragraphs by not removing this defamatory content from YouTube. Mr. Upchurch continues to cause harm to Mr. Cedeno's reputation and character. Therefore, Mr. Cedeno seeks a preliminary injunction and a permanent injunction to require Mr. Upchurch to remove the defamatory content from YouTube that is complained of herein. Mr. Cedeno incorporates all the above paragraphs. Mr. Cedeno suffered damage to his reputation and character as evidenced by inter alia the messages he received after Mr. Upchurch's defamatory statements and or written titles were published. Given that Florida law has no cap on non-economic damages, Mr. Cedeno seeks at least $3.5 million for the damage of his reputation and character. But for the false and defamatory content that Mr. Upchurch had published about Mr. Cedeno, Mr. Simard would not have distributed a death threat to Mr. Cedeno. Likewise, Mr. Cedeno would not have received other hateful and demeaning messages from followers of Mr. Upchurch. Ergo, Mr. Cedeno suffered severe mental anguish, including fear for the lives of his family members and himself, sleepless nights and anxiety as the direct and proximate result of Mr. Upchurch's false and defamatory statements. Given that Florida law has no cap on non-economic damages, Mr. Cedeno seeks at least $3.5 million for the damage to his mental health. You know what I find interesting? They don't mention anything about him seeking treatment for that anxiety and sleeplessness, all of that for his mental health. I think it would be far more credible had he said something like that in there about his treatment and about the doctor treating him. Mr. Cedeno has suffered and will continue to suffer financial losses. Mr. Cedeno incurred out-of-pocket expenses of between $600 and $850 to install cameras to surveil his property. He also lost non-paying subscribers to his YouTube channel, which negatively impacted his income from monetization and potential super chats, where viewers essentially tip the content creator. He has also lost paying subscribers. They're called members. At present, these pecuniary damages are hard to ascertain. However, they will be computed before trial and shall be disclosed in discovery. In the meantime, Mr. Cedeno's aggregate monetary damages are estimated to exceed $10,000. Mr. Cedeno also seeks punitive damages, given that Florida's law would place no cap on punitive damages since Mr. Upchurch intended to cause injury to Mr. Cedeno and in view of his actual malice in publishing and then in his refusal to retract. The aforesaid defamatory material, Mr. Cedeno seeks at least $14 million in punitive damages. Mr. Cedeno also seeks reimbursement of his attorney fees, plus all costs of this action, plus post-judgment interests. Wherefore, premises considered, the plaintiff herein, Melvin Cedeno, seeks entry of a judgment against the defendant, Ryan Upchurch, for compensatory damages in the aggregate amount of at least $7,010,000 plus punitive damages of at least $14 million, plus all costs of this action, plus attorney's fees pursuant to the Florida statute, plus post-judgment interest. Furthermore, the plaintiff seeks a preliminary injunction of a permanent and a permanent injunction requiring that Mr. Upchurch remove said defamation specimens 1 and 2 from YouTube. And finally, the plaintiff seeks general relief, whether legal or equitable, that this court may deem meet and proper in the premises. Respectfully submitted on the 21st day of August 2023, Melvin Cedino, by Matthew D. Wilson, attorney. So, what does everyone think about that? Yes, Kevin. What does everyone think? It's interesting. Yeah. It is interesting. I don't know anything about this one. Seems like he has a lot of proof. Oh yeah, let's look at, let me see what these are. Hold on a second. Got some exhibits here. Okay. So these are some exhibits. This is by the Samard person. Where are you located? What's the matter, MFer? You, Xana, and Tony Dodge, y'all think King Ryan's bad, bro? I will blow up your effing personal DMs constantly. Go ahead, hit back at me. What you got to say for yourself, your little P, little D. Go ahead, biatch, hook me up. I'm only known for violent crimes, so please look around. Better yet, biatch, look me up. Ha ha. No Brody, no crackhead here. It's mad easy to follow you and all your little biatch friends. You never know who's looking over your shoulder or in your windows. Let's just say I wouldn't sleep if I were you. Okay, and this must be iCkEdMeL saying you a crackhead, and then said Ralph making veiled threats in a DM is stupid. People like you believe whatever you want without any kind of proof. You're a sheep idiot. And then he said, 3 back, biatch, I never threatened you. Want I just for one day, I wouldn't sleep in people looking at your effing windows, and that's a fat biatch, so I don't give a F, buddy, like you think I'm the only one, bro. You dumb real. Effing stupid. I could tell you I was going to come to the house and put a gun in your mouth and pull the MFing trigger and there's no MFer over here going to F with me after they read your... Now, I see a problem here, okay? He says, I could tell you, okay? I could tell you. That's going to be a little bit of a problem. Just saying. Hey, Katrina. Don't backpedal. No, it's all documented. Go cry and complain somewhere else. Okay. Weirdo, you dumb effing N-word. Go back and get whipped by your effing slave on your fat effing piece. Arse. A lot of really bad, horrible, racist words. And then iCkEdMeL says, look at you all triggered and angry. Keep watching and being a fanboy. Okay. Then this one says, that's why I'm swallowing a laugh out of making you think I'm angry. Stupid. Biatch. Ha 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 ha. You really do suck at this effing Facebook. Shite. You can't beat someone that's already baited you. Effing reject. I'm trying to see what you guys are saying. Katrina says, Ryan has openly spoken about his own mental health issues. He is paranoia and anxiety. Not saying it's an excuse for causing someone harm. Just saying, I bet that will be brought up. Marisa said, Katrina, I believe that, and there were a lot of requests to stop. But he wouldn't be stopped, it seemed. He's not the only one who thinks they can say anything. Be careful reading it. There's a lot. Oh, yeah, I'm going to be careful. The words are blacked out, too. Okay. So then it says, bro, you're not even making any sense right now. First you tell me that I probably shouldn't threatening DMs when I didn't. And then I threatening you and in a DM and you backpedal like a MFer, like a scared little biatch. And now you're just going to start calling me a crackhead and I'm crazy and all this other shite when really you're just running scared like a little see you next Tuesday because Ryan has you on the ropes. You and your little buddy Xana, Tony, yes, you guys are all effing peas, and yes, I got caught, and now you guys are taking down videos and trying to make other people look bad, and all this other shite. Brody, when I just told you I don't give a F, bro, and then I will come out there to Cali with my boys or that, and put a G in your MFing mouth and show you really what the F it is. So keep playing. It may not be me that she was up at your house, Brody, and maybe one of my effing boards. So keep playing this game. That doesn't even make sense. Okay. Baited. What? You made the threats and seem to be losing your mind. What? Nothing to say now. Go ahead and do an IP search. Go ahead. Swap me because you know what at the end of the effing day I will effing owing you, so please try me, and I have lawyers sitting on call waiting. Nobody in this effing world is scared of a YouTube little biatch like you. Okay. Now, if that sounds really bad to you guys, I get stuff like that all the time. And I'm sure a lot of other YouTubers do as well, especially ones that are targeted and have a lot of defamatory stuff thrown at them. Okay, I've had a SWAT called to my house. I've had death threats. I've had my sheriff's department called that a pipe bomb was put in my lawn. So, and then I have people that say it's fake and put that out there and keep putting my distress out there and saying it's fake. Don't you think that's causing me extreme emotional distress? Yeah, for sure it is. So I love how people are so, like, some people are like, oh my gosh, this is so freaking bad. This is pretty tame. Pretty tame. I've had stuff that's 100 times worse that they're going to do to me, my kids, in writing. Yeah. So, and coming from people, yeah, because I've been defamed. What's wrong with the sound? There's no sound? Sharon's saying I have no sound. Is that true? Is there no sound? Do I not have sound? Oh, okay, because Sharon's saying there's no sound. All right, let's go to the next one. I'm sorry, I get a little bit, because this, to me, is a very personal thing. I have PTSD from the SWAT especially, and every single day I have people put up videos of my raw emotion during that SWAT, and they think it's funny. They think it's funny, and they call it fake. Can you even imagine? Can you imagine that happening to other people? And I see a therapist for PTSD, and I have been diagnosed with PTSD from that SWAT. So that's why I'm saying in iCkEdMeL, I didn't see anything about what mentally he has been diagnosed with, what he's being treated for, and I would expect that if you have that degree of harm. Okay, so let's go. I'm sorry, it's a very personal thing because it's like, especially when I see people like think that this is so horrible, but meanwhile turned a blind eye at so much other stuff. Okay. You little bee, you should turn your effing camera off. I can't wait to see you get busted. This is child's... I'm sorry. This right here is child's play. You keep digging yourself. What I mean by child's play is that every single solitary day I get this. Every single day. I can't even believe that this is what they would take for the specimen. I just hate people who ask children. I've been accused of being a P. I've been accused of, remember, do you forget? See, Ryan Upchurch has a channel that stays up. Ryan Upchurch, his stuff is still there. The stuff, a lot of the defamatory stuff gets deleted. We have copies of it. It's on Facebook as well. But because of that, there's a lot of people that don't know. For how many months was my reputation damaged by people? Trisha, I am. That's what I have a legal fund for. I am. 100% I am. Have you seen my community post? So I was told that we had dolls because we were trafficking children. if you weren't around for that, okay? We were told that for months that was around. Months and months and months. I got way worse messages that I have. I mean, this is just crazy. I'm sorry that is the, I don't know. An incident report. I have multiples of these. Okay, here's an incident report. That's on the above date and time. I made a telephone contact with a male who identified himself. He advised that he was threatened via Facebook. He advised the subject was on Facebook as Ralph Frank Simmerd of Bangor, Maine. Cedino said the subject threatened him by telling him to watch his back and not sleep, and that he'll come to his house and put a G in his mouth. Cedino said that Simmerd claims to be violent and have a criminal record. Cedino said that he does not know Simmerd, but believes that this is related to a YouTuber that has claimed him to be a P and a member of S trafficking, that Cedino is not sure if the subject knows his address or whereabouts. However, he stated that he is in fear due to the online personality broad influence and believes that he might be subjected to violence. He was provided the case number for this report. Police didn't even go to his house. Every single time the police come to my house, they would never just do something on the phone. Just saying. I don't know if they do it differently down there, but in New York State, they come to your house. If you ever call in something like this, they come to your house. Okay, and this over here, that's just showing you how many likes or whatever. That's nothing. What is this? Now is that 1, 4, 1, 5. Okay. This is a letter that was sent, okay, from the law offices to, I believe this is the lawyer of Ryan Upchurch, or that's the judge. Hold on, is that the judge there? The Honorable Cynthia Sherwood. Okay, dear Ms. Sherwood, my office has been retained by Melvin Cedino, aka iCkEdMeL, to sue Mr. Ryan Upchurch for defamation, including defamation by implication, false light, and intentional infliction of emotional distress that he published on YouTube beginning on Saturday, August 20th, 2022, and again on Sunday, August 21st, 2022. This letter incorporates, by reference, the retraction letter we delivered on August 7th, a copy of which is attached here too, except where the context herein would state otherwise. On August 20th, blah, 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 blah. Okay, this is everything we read in there. This is just the letter. That's everything we all read in the report. So these are the letters that he sent, but we have already gone over that. And let's see. Here's the... You know what I don't see in here is statistics. Okay, and I know this because I know this. I'll just say it like that. The statistics are important, where you show the number of members you had, the date that certain defamation happens. Maybe it's tweets out to sponsors that you're homophobic or you're a racist, as what happened to me, and then a direct correlation of that tweet and those tweets as to members lost, revenue lost, all of that stuff. I don't see any of that here. I don't see that here in any of these exhibits. And you're asking for $21 million. What are the losses? Why aren't they defined? Because that's not what I've been told. But anyway, that's like the most important thing when you are looking for damages. Hey, snow remover. Isn't that in the... No, it's not. It's not, Senrisa. There's only one thing, and that's Upchurch's. It shows how many likes and impressions, which we read about on a video. It's not in there. Not that I see, and not in the exhibits I have here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, yeah, it's a little bit interesting. I would like to see, let me see something. How come he didn't give a number of how many subscribers he lost? How many members he lost? How many members he had before Ryan Upchurch made that video? And how many he had immediately after? I don't know why. Yeah, his chart, of course, he went way up when you're looking at the statistics with Kylie Rodney. That's because before that, he was like stagnant. Before Kylie Rodney's case, he's like a straight line. Kylie Rodney's case comes and he spikes tremendously, okay? Going from, say, 100, this is a monthly view, monthly, in the month of June of 2021, 100,011, okay? A little over 100,000 views, excuse me. 111,640 video views. In September, with Kylie Rodney's case, he went to 7,350,000 views. That was because of Kylie Rodney's case, okay? And because his channel was getting a lot of traffic. When Kylie Rodney, when that was over, then he started to come down gradually. So in October, he was down to 4,584 views. And then in November, 1 million. Still, all of those numbers are way up from what he was doing from August of 2020 through. He was consistent with the views. So he spiked really big with August and September peaking, and then gradually coming down, okay, and then in December and January, he kind of stayed the same, around 790, 782. He dropped in February. But when was this stuff made? This stuff was made in August, right? Didn't he say the first videos came out in August? Because it correlates. Well, September, he peaks. Okay, so he had a tremendous amount of views through that time. In August, let's see here, August of 2021, he only had 589,000 views. September, he peaked to 7 million. Looking at this, when that defamatory stuff was going on, do you know what a defense attorney is going to do for Upchurch? They're going to show that iCkEdMeL skyrocketed during that time. How could he say he lost subscribers during that time when he's skyrocketing? Look. Look. Maybe this is why they didn't put the statistics in there. Look at the views. This is from September of 20. What is that? Sorry, I have to make this a little bigger. Hold on a second. Okay, this is August of 2020. 259,000 views. September, 259, staying the same. 300, around the same. 164, drop it a little bit. This is all prior to Kylie Rodney. December 2020, 214,000, 243,000, 140,000, 103,000, 85. That's very little, okay? That was April. This is right before Kylie Rodney. May, 249, 111, 284. Okay, starting to go up. This is August. 589,000 views in August. Now remember, this is when the defamation started. Watch. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on a minute. Wait a minute. Kylie is September. Okay, hold on. This is 2021. I'm wrong here. So he's spiked. I'm sorry. You know what this spike is? This is Gabby Petito. I'm so sorry. This is Gabby Petito's spike. Look at that. See, this is still going to be a problem because it shows what happens. You have a case, you spike, and then you come down. Okay, all right. So I'm very sorry about that. That was wrong. This is Gabby Petito right here. Very, very sorry. So Gabby Petito, I think that's when he started to become popular on YouTube, was with Gabby Petito. He flew up there. But then October, you know, Brian Laundrie, everybody was found, and that case came down, and so did his views. In April of 2022, prior to Kylie Rodney, he went up in April. It's probably another case I'm not recalling right now. So now let's go over here, July. Now this is Kylie Rodney. June of 2022, July, this is prior to. In August, his views were 1,518,000. In September, he's 281. Okay, so his views did go down. All right, he lost views. But they're going to say, you lost views here too when that case was over. How can you prove that that is the direct action of Ryan Upchurch? And the only way you're going to prove that is you have to have, and he may have it. I'm not saying he doesn't have it, but what I'm trying to say, when you're in a defamation case, you have to have the action that the defamatory actions, and then show exactly what happened from that. So if somebody tweets defamatory stuff about you, and then you have a direct correlation of losing paid members, Patreons, subscribers, that's all. That's what lawyers want. That's what they want. So let's look at this. So now he's here. Where were we? July, okay, August. But see, he didn't hit the high of Gabby Petito with, he was 7.5 million views with Gabby Petito. Yeah, no, I realize that, Jeanette. Believe me, nobody realizes that stuff more than me, Jeanette. But what I'm trying to say is this stuff is really important to have. But see, what happens is now in October, his views start going up. And they go up in November, and they're up in December, and they're about the same in January. So, and I'm going to tell you something else. This drop in views can also be because a content creator deleted videos. And a lot of these content creators that stream news, sometimes they will delete their videos when they have tremendously long newscasts. So it's possible that this drop, this would have to be seen on a YouTube dashboard, can be from, like on these sites, it can be tricked from somebody deleting videos. So what do I mean by that? And this is not, I'm just telling you guys, these are facts, okay? This kind of graph would never be taken in court because this can be manipulated by somebody deleting videos or hiding videos. You don't even have to delete them. A site like Social Blade, if you hide your videos by putting them on private, it will not recognize the views you have in those videos. And so what will happen is you can make it look like you had a tremendous loss of views in a certain month. So this would not be admitted to any court. It would have to be your YouTube dashboard, and they would have to see that. Okay? Yeah, but he really gained with Kylie Rodney. Then, okay, let's just look. So this is after Kylie Rodney. He was growing. He dipped down in February. Now, that can be a real dip down, or he could have deleted videos. We don't know. But then, you know, that's the way it is. And then he's peaking. All the while, he's doing better than he was in the months prior. Even, you know, he hit here in June of 2022. That was prior to Kylie Rodney. So one could say, well, this kind of up and down is not uncommon for him. But I'm just telling you the way things will happen. Now, as of subscribers, this right here is Gabby Petito. He gained his most subscribers with Gabby Petito, 63,500. Okay? That was just in the month of September. In the month of August, 2,500. In the month of October, 11,000. And then here it says 000. But again, and what people don't understand is once you get to a certain point, like when you are over, see, his subs will only go up by the 1,000. That's why you don't see 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you get to this, they're up by 1,000. That's why people go, oh, look, they're buying subs because they only come in increments of 1,000. No, that's how they put it there. But something's up here, you see, something's being deleted or something's being hidden because the views here, look at these views, don't jive. Okay? 32,000 and then 3,000 and then nothing and then 96, nothing, 5,000, 8,000. this is more like videos being put to private or videos deleted. A lot of those numbers there. And it says now in the last 30 days, he's gained 1,000 subscribers. And he was, December of 2022, 14,000. That's pretty good, isn't it? 15,000, 3,000, 5,000 subscribers, 1,000, 4,000. So I don't know. But this here is not an accurate stats because this can be totally manipulated by a creator. I could show it to you right now. If I went and privated a bunch of my videos, within 2 days you'd see a significant drop in my views on here. It wouldn't mean that. It would mean that I manipulated the statistics. And it can be done on this Social Blade platform here, because it doesn't recognize things. So what is important and what you must have is your real statistics and the defamatory incidents. So if you have a defamatory incident and then you lost 100 Patreons, you have a defamatory incident and right after you lost 100, 200, 300 members, then that does equate to a monetary loss. But that is something that you've got to show. And I'm just surprised that there wasn't more said. I know it said like this happened, but it didn't say specifically even like a number. Well, let's see. But yeah, that would go towards distress, but I'm surprised there's not any medical, anything in there about if you're saying it's the daughter, Jeanette, the family members seeking mental health care, what's gone on. Who, Katrina? Buying who subs? I don't know. We'll see what happens there. I'm saying that a lot of people are like, oh, this is a slam dunk for this, but you don't know what the defense is going to ask for, and I don't know. I Ryan subs last year. Redneck Nation buying Ryan subs last year to have his channel taken down. Yeah, that can happen. I 100% believe that can happen. I've had a lot of people that have tried to sabotage me. This YouTube, these streets are disgusting. They are. They can be absolutely disgusting. I don't know. I don't watch either of them. So this is completely just me looking at the lawsuit and saying that there's things that I would think in my own dealings with attorneys that they want in those lawsuits that I don't see here. And that's me. I mean, nobody has to shoot. This is my opinion. I'm entitled to it. I live this kind of thing all the time. And this is kind of stuff that they want. So I'm surprised. Again, I don't watch either of them. I don't know either of them personally. This is an unbiased look at what's going on. The only thing I can say is what I see there is not, I mean, people getting, I've had way worse said to me that I could bring out here. Horrible things. I don't know what Jeanette's talking about because I don't see, like, they didn't mention the daughter except that he was scared for his daughter. They didn't say specific things aimed at the daughter. I've had specific things aimed at my children, both in writing and on phone calls, and I'm told that they're fake and that I'm doing it. Do you know what kind of emotional distress that does to someone? When you are, whether it was the SWAT or especially the SWAT, and they play that raw pain and they say it's fake, that's re-victimizing people every single day. So it's pretty sad, but I have to, let me see here. My other thing is 12:45. I just want to, so I did good on that. I wasn't sure. I just have to advertise this. We're going to have another True Crime Rewind with Mommy Ramblings. Right after this, it'll actually redirect you. Okay. Put this out there. I just have to put it onto YouTube. Believe me, Jeanette, I know about harassment big time. I think you do too. I'm not saying one way or the other. All I'm commenting is about what I've been told and important proof, evidence that I just don't see here. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I don't see that, and I'm entitled to say that because I don't see it. I see, yes, bad things, but there's a lot of really bad things. And just because you probably didn't see those messages until this lawsuit, do you think that maybe other people have things that you haven't seen? And all I'm saying is it's, I don't know, it's distressing that anybody even has to go through this, that people do this or are allowed to. Our laws haven't caught up with it, and that it's distressing. shoot, hold on a minute. I want to do that with... Okay, want to do that. Yes, that's better. Okay. All right. Sorry, I just had to get the stuff out about the next live. I don't understand some people's behavior towards other people. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to take many lawsuits. That's what it's going to take. Many people being sued. Again, I don't watch either of these people. She's Like Diamond. Ryan Upchurch, from what I understand, is some country music, but he's not recognized by like I don't know, what is it? He's like a self-published author. He produces his own music. You don't find him on the Country Music Awards or anything like that. It's his own production. Country rapper, very outspoken from what I gather here. I believe he's into a lot of conspiracy. He's being sued by Kylie Rodney's parents. And again, this is terrible, saying their daughter didn't exist. Okay? That it wasn't real. And we've seen people like Alex Jones do that, and we see where they ended up. Yeah, here on YouTube, She's Like Diamonds. Yep. Defamation, slander cases shouldn't cost so much. It's crazy when they want so much money after someone's harassment. Just exactly, Katrina, exactly. But in this case, the person that's harassing him has extreme assets, okay? When you are then faced with people that don't have assets, what you're told for the most part is why bother? Why bother? Because you're just going to spend thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and even if you win, okay, and they're not going to have any money to pay you. So they could be on the line for your legal fees and this and that, and their wages to be garnished. But when are you going to collect on that? So like you say, Katrina, you already have been harmed financially. And then you could spend $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 for what? There should just be a law that people shouldn't be allowed to do this. And the restraining orders, where all that works, it's so different in every state. Some states, it's such a rigmarole, which is truly why I really do, and I am going to get that foundation set up in my son's name to help people navigate this stuff, because it is almost infuriating to, number one, even try to find the right lawyer. Okay? That's crazy. You think, oh, it's easy. I'll just find a defamation lawyer. I'll find a lawyer that says internet law. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. There is so much and hardly any information. And we think, yeah, YouTube is big right here, but outside, even with law enforcement, they're not even knowledgeable on what is happening. Not many of them. Some of them are, but some of them aren't. Most of them aren't. Sad to say, most of them are not. But they will admit that our laws are way behind our technology. So, yeah, right. You had to sue your cyber stalkers. It cost you $6,000, and you've never been paid back for the court costs or anything. Exactly. And you won the case. Did it stop it at least stop the harassment, right? That's a very, now, you're looking at just that to start, for at least a retainer, and then the quotations are like 25,000 minimum after that retainer, minimum, especially if you have different people. It's horrible. Horrible. Yes, harassment stopped. She actually went away completely. Yeah, it's coming up. Yep. All right, so I'm going to move us over to the other one, and I will be right back. Let me see. End the stream. Thanks for watching, and leave your thoughts in the comments. I hope harassment ends for everyone. It's horrible things.